Welcome back to the My Latin Life podcast. Since 2014, My Latin Life has been your trusted guide to traveling and living in Latin America. My guest today is Andrew from Remote Tribe. Andrew, how are you?
I'm good, man. Good to be here finally.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been communicating on Twitter
We've been
for
flirting on Twitter a bit, yeah.
for well over a year. You've been around. You have your own website, which is remotetribe.life. You have a Twitter account, at Remote Tribe Life. What other platforms are you on?
We're quite big on LinkedIn, by the way. We just reached 10,000. We passed 10,000 followers as a company on LinkedIn, which is
Ah,
quite big. And also, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. And we also have a YouTube channel now. I'm also trying to give like travel advice, and we're talking about residencies and passports. So I suggest everyone follows me because we try to bring some really good guests from South America, from Europe, and so on and so forth. So just watch us on all channels, I guess.
sweet. So we'll definitely have to do like a intercambio, and I'll jump on your YouTube channel as well.
For sure.
Okay, sweet. And you are in Tenerife, Spain at the moment?
Yeah, it's actually the Canary Islands, and Tenerife is just one of the four islands. The trick here is that it's warm all year because it's close to the equator, more or less. And basically, you've got like 23, 24 every day, every night for 365 days. It's pretty amazing. So, a lot of Europeans are here actually. It's kind of a European runaway base from winter. It's
Hmm.
pretty cold in Europe right now, especially center and north.
Yeah, definitely. As a European in February, Canary Islands, definitely one of the
Yeah, it's,
places
it's,
to
it's a
be.
must do. Yeah.
And I can't totally place your accent. Where are you from?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. So I'm basically a bit of all over the place. So my father is English, my mother is Romanian. I've been living abroad since I was a kid. I lived in Denmark, in the Netherlands as well, because my parents were moving a lot. And lately, in the past few years, I was between London and Bucharest, and also Asia. I was traveling. So kind of a mixed breed plus traveling puts me somewhere on the international scale, I guess.
Okay, okay. So it's kind of like a Romanian inspired accent.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, cool. I like it. I like it. So, where do we kick things off? We haven't talked about the Canary Islands much on this podcast. Would you be down to give us a little bit of a run through of the Canary Islands from a digital nomad perspective, a logistics perspective, maybe
Sure.
cost of living, community, all that stuff?
Yeah, sure. I think it's a really good idea. So Tenerife is one of the four islands. There are actually more, but they're like four big islands. You've got Gran Canaria, you've got Lanzarote, and you've got, I think, Fuerteventura. And I'm on
And
Tenerife, which
Las
is
Palmas,
Las Palmas. I think is the capital of Gran Canaria, if I'm not wrong.
Gran Canaria. Okay.
Yeah. So Tenerife is probably the youngest of all, in the way that you've got a lot of young people. And by the way, the digital nomad community is quite big here. So I mean, we've got the WhatsApp group of hundreds of people. It's definitely a good place to come and work. The internet is great. I'm in a co-living space right now. We've got 130 megabytes or 150 megabytes. It's great, really fast, very stable. I think one of the cross the transatlantic cable that unites Europe and America is going through here in Madeira, which is
Mm,
Portugal. It's an island up north, I think. Madeira is beautiful, by the way, but it doesn't belong to Spain. It belongs to Portugal.
right.
Great place, great community there as well, by the way. And the internet is great here, yeah. So I think it has a lot of good things for digital nomads, and that's why a lot of them flock here. One is the temperature; it's really constant across the year. Two, you've got a lot of people working from here, like literally old people, young people, mid-aged families come here to work, do some workations. You see it all over. And basically, I mean, the biggest community, nomad community, is definitely in the south, where you've got the beach and the surfing. However, it's warmer there. I think it can be way hotter, maybe over 28 or 30, definitely in the summer. The beach is not that great. I mean, they have like black
And you're
sand.
referring to the Tenerife
Yeah, I'm
Islands
talking about the
specifically.
Tenerife right now because
And
of. Mhm.
off the top of my head, the south is called like Playa de los Ingleses or something.
No, it's Playa Los Americanes and Adeje, Costa Adeje, and also yeah, I think, yeah, Los Americanos. I think it's a favorite place for party, but the bars are not really that great, to be honest. You have to be very careful. There's
Okay.
a lot of like really kitschy bars, so that might not be your type, really. Um, it's a bit messy there. So if you want to leave, just go look out for surfer communities. There are a lot of surfing schools here. So if you work from here and you've got good internet and you want to maybe do some surf, this is a good place for you. So down south, like where I am right
Gotcha.
now in up north in Santa Cruz,
Uh-huh.
it's one of, I think it's the capital city, capital town. It's kind of a
Right.
big town.
It's like the big city, the port.
Yeah, exactly. So you can take the ferry to Gran Canaria here, and then you've got the cruise ships just mooring here. It's insane. They're absolutely huge. So if you're into boats, you're definitely gonna love that. And you've got a
Mm.
lot of stores. It does feel like Spain. Like you've got all the European shops. You've got McDonald's. You've got like electronic shops. It's literally you don't feel like you're on an island. It's really developed. On the other hand, you can do a lot of really cool things, like you can do hiking. It's one of the highest mountains in Europe. I think it's maybe the second or third. I mean, they still
Yeah.
consider Europe here.
Teide, it's called.
That's it. You got it. You can go with the car. The roads are extremely good. You can go to the with the car up to the, I would say, like mid-level 2,000 meters, and then you can take this cable car up to the top. And then if you want to literally be on the top, you need to schedule like a ticket. It's kind of annoying because there's a huge waiting line. So you can take the cable car, but you stop close to the peak. You're not going to reach the peak. You need an appointment. It sounds ridiculous, but that's how it is. So that's just one of the things you can do. I mentioned surfing. They do kite surfing, windsurfing. There's wind all the year, as you can imagine. Sometimes it's more in the south, sometimes it's less, but it's in the middle of the Atlantic, more or less. So there's a lot of good wind. People do parasailing. There's a lot of activities to be done here. It's great. They've got some
Mm.
nice parks. Can be a bit boring sometimes, and you need a car. By the way, you kind of need a car.
To live on Canary Islands? To live on
Yeah, I would
Tenerife?
say so. So they've got a bus system which is great and cheap. However, it doesn't really stop everywhere and is not really covering the whole island. So if you want to go, for example,
Uh,
southwest, you can't really go by bus. If you want to go northeast and northwest, you can by bus. But if you want to go on some of these like hiking trails and do some trekking, you have to leave the car somewhere high where the bus doesn't come. So all in all, you really need a car, I would say. But
huh.
what people do
Is there
here,
Uber? Sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
Is
there
there
is, but
Uber?
it's extremely expensive. So the taxis
Uh,
are crazy expensive. So what I advise people to do is just hook up with the peeps from the co-living space or from the hostel or from the villa, rent a car in five people, divide the cost. Is going to cost you about maybe 20 euros a day or 25 bucks or something like that USD, which is pretty good. And then you can just decide how you want to use the car between yourselves. But it's yeah, so we do have a car here in the weekends. People chip in and we just rent a car in five, and that's how we do it.
hmm. And is it possible to bring a car from the mainland?
You
Like,
can.
is there a
Yeah.
ferry and you can bring the car
I
from
checked.
Spain?
I checked it. It's insane. It takes about a day and a half, so about like
Oh shit.
35 hours. So I think you want to put your car on the ferry and then take the plane. It's really cheap actually from Madrid to fly to Barcelona. So you don't really. It's not that type of island. You can't do island hopping like you do in Greece, or it's not that type. It's quite far, guys. Quite far.
Okay. All right. Well, as long as you can send the car down there.
Yeah, I mean, all the cars here have Spanish plates. It's crazy. It's basically Europe. It's so weird. Honestly, it's so weird. You
Well, I
know.
mean, yeah, that makes sense. I'm surprised. I thought you were going to say that the cars all have German plates or something.
No, no. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of Germans living here, but it's just weird to be on an island somewhere in the Atlantic, which is far from Europe, and have everything in Spanish. It's really weird.
Hmm. Yeah, this is one of my top spots. I'm really trying to hit. So you're in a co-living right
That's it.
now.
Yeah, in the
For people who
center.
are unfamiliar, what's a co-living? What's the vibe like there?
It's basically like a shared flat, but you've got a lot of amenities, like the ping pong table. Some of them have swimming pools. The owners organize barbecue. So I would say like the cool thing about the co-living is that you're not just entering a flat share. You're entering more like a community of people who actually want to meet other people, and they're very open, and they want to do things together, and they want to hook up one way or another, or
They want
they
to
want to
hook
network.
up.
Yeah, I mean, of course, why not? Why not?
Okay.
People also do networking here. Like I'm living with some entrepreneurs. A lot of people have side gigs, and I mean it's really cool. You can meet some really interesting people in these places. Especially if you're like single, it's definitely it's better than flat. I would say it's like flat share V2. That's how I see it. And I mean, if you're in this kind of, yeah, if you're willing to share, some of them have more privacy than others. Like you can have your own apartment in some of them. Some others you just have a room and common spaces. And usually the common spaces are quite nice, and people just hang around there, or they organize activities and stuff like that. So there are other benefits. You get a co-working in most of them, so they've got really nice. Facilities here. Like they've got a coffee machine, they've got the desks, they've got high speed internet, meeting rooms. So yeah, it's more than just a flat share. I would say it literally caters to remote workers and nomads.
Hmm.
Literally, so it's exactly that gap in the market between a flat share and the hotel. I would say hotels are
Hmm.
catching up though. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
And how much do you pay per month for the co-living?
It, obviously, it depends. For this one, I'm paying about $1,200 or €1,000. I think it's the parity. It's that or 1,100.
€1,000.
Yeah, €1,000 per month. I'm going to Morocco next, which is literally like a stick away from here. It's just 45 minutes by plane because it's like northwest of Africa, and this one is literally very close.
Yeah.
So there you can find places for like $400 or $500. Obviously, it's not as clean and as organized as here, but it's really, really beautiful in Morocco. I mean, it's very authentic, super kind people, and very
Hmm.
exotic as well. And the temperature is the same because they're very close to each other. So
Hmm.
it all depends. In London, you can pay up to £2,000 for a room. It's insane. I think in Brussels, in Belgium, I've lived in some that were about 700-800 euros, which is pretty decent for a European city in the middle of Europe. Expensive also, but I think it's pretty good. So it's basically like, yeah, it's a bit more expensive than a flat share, but cheaper than a hotel. I think it can be more expensive than having a rental contract though. So, but I mean, for nomads and remote workers, you don't want to be in that kind of contract because it's minimum
Hmm.
6 months in most of the places.
So, as Andrew, the founder or head of Remote Tribe, are you a bit of a co-living expert?
I would say I've lived in a few. I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I understand how it works and I get the vibe and why people do it.
Why do you choose the co-living over, say, an Airbnb?
It's more social, obviously. So I did live in Airbnbs, like every nomad and worker and traveler. But yeah, you can be lonely there. Like here in the co-living experience, you've got your own space, and then you also have, if you want to socialize, you've got the rooftop like we have here, or you've got the living room, so you don't feel alone. You can also do activities together. It's much easier if you're in the same house than hooking up on WhatsApp and strangers. So yeah, I think it's pretty obvious.
And what are the downsides of co-livings?
Yeah, I think it's again, as I said, I think it's a bit more expensive than living in a rental contract for 6 months or a year, and also they're hard to get. Some of these places they're booked way in advance. So if people want to experience, just book up like 3 months in advance minimum. I would
Hmm.
say. I was supposed to live in another one here in Tenerife, which was spectacular, like super nice swimming pool and huge terrace and stuff like that, but it was fully booked. So I'm not sorry I'm here. This one is really good as well. I would say another downside is the privacy because some of the rooms they're not really that big, and then you always bump into people. So you want to sometimes you share the bathroom, so you wanna keep that in mind, right? Um, yeah, and I mean a lot of them are not at the same standard. So you might be living in a one which is like super clean, super nice, and another one which is okay, not terrible but okay. So you definitely want to read the reviews before committing because usually commit to a month or three.
And where in Europe do you think they have the most co-livings? Are there like some hub cities?
Yeah, I think so. There are in the big cities actually. So in Europe, that's how it works. Like all these new developments, that's how they're built with purpose. Some of them, so they have like facilities, they have amenities. They've got like playroom. A lot of them have swimming pools. Like in London, in Paris, also in Brussels, they've done some really nice ones and they're built on purpose. So I think the big cities in Europe are actually pretty popular because it's very expensive and people are pretty lonely, and it's really good for people who come to work for a while or Like in London, I met some people who were just there for like 6 months or just want to experiment. They were Europeans trying to experiment life in the UK. So they were coming on a 3 months contract. And in a lot of these places, it's very hard to get out of this long term contract. So that's why I think it's a good option if you want to try a city, if you want to try to live and see if you want to move there. I think that's a perfect entry for people who want to experiment new cultures and just moving here and there.
Hey guys, quick break from the podcast to tell you about job stacking. If you're a remote or hybrid worker looking to maximize your earning potential, then Rolf Haltze, author of Job Stacking, guarantees you'll be able to double your income by implementing his paycheck multiplication layering method. This is the exact system Rolf has used to take his own income and those of many others beyond 20K a month. With this method, Rolf contractually guarantees that you'll be able to double your income in 45 days. So, if you're interested in unleashing your earning potential and doubling your income, then click the link in the description and book a call with Rolf right now. Definitely makes sense. So you're finding that the co-livings are finding better product market fit in the big cities versus say like touristy beach towns.
I would say so because, yeah, it also depends. Like they serve different purposes. Like in the big cities, people want to live there. They have to live in the city basically, so they want to have some company and they want to have these nice facilities. In the countryside, so on the islands, I guess it's more about, yeah, experimenting nature and just living with other people. But it's a different lifestyle because, like in Europe, for example, you have these tall towers. You've got like hundreds of flats in them, and then everyone meets for events. But here it's like more local, I would say. So it's more authentic in the countryside, in on the islands, I would say. So it's kind of different. Usually their house is converted, so it's a bit different. The vibe is a bit different, but the market fit is, I think, is definitely there, especially now with remote work. Like you can't go in a hotel, you don't want to be alone in a flat, so this is perfect.
Hmm. And do you find Santa Cruz de Tenerife being pretty walkable?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like, yeah, yeah, you can walk everywhere. It's quite small. It's kind of a town. It's not a city. I wouldn't call it a city, but then you can also take the bike to the beach. There's a beach which is like 25 minutes bike ride, and to go south to the other beaches, I think it's quite far. You need a car. It's about an hour and something drive, so you can't really walk between. You can take a
Uh,
bus south and then walk it, but still, it's not that type of island that is that small. It's quite big, honestly. It's quite big.
I mean, it's kind of nice. I mean, it's good that you'd rather a big island than a small
Yeah,
island. So,
yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, I mean, I promise people they're not going to get bored here because of the community. There are raves. I think this weekend we're going to a rave party.
oh,
A
nice.
lot of interesting people. There are events happening all the time. So it's really a European thing. It feels like a European affair. A lot of Germans, a lot of English people here. So quite European feel, I would say. Yeah, definitely, it's worth
People
a
from
try.
everywhere in Europe.
Yeah, yeah, I would say, yeah, yeah.
What nationalities are the most represented?
I think it's kind of a stereotype, but also it's true. Like Germans and English people, because mostly they're retired. So I mean, because the weather is so good, people literally bought houses here and live.
Hmm.
But it is, you can see there are like elderly people everywhere. It depends. Like if you go south in the surfing villages, then you're good. You're going to see a lot of and meet a lot of young people. But it's kind of an interesting mix. Up north, where it's more cool, you'll see more older people, and they have houses in the mountains and stuff like that. Quite spectacular around there, by the way, with flowers, and there is some kind of mist in the air, which is actually it's sand from Africa. It's not like water; it's sand. It's
Mm,
very beautiful. I'll send you some pictures after the show. I did some drone shots and it looks fantastic. But it's kind of a mix. You'll find your crew here, I'm sure.
that's cool. And the beach that you say that you go to, is that Playa Las Teresitas?
That's it. Yeah, that's the close one to the capital, and it's the only one with the white or golden sand, which is brought from Africa apparently. Very interesting. And it's okay. It's a good feel. Water is cold though, so it's pretty cold. However, in the south, it feels like there's volcanic rock, like volcanic sand,
Uh-huh.
and it's a bit weird. It doesn't really feel like a beach. And then just behind the beach is like it's very arid, and there's it's kind of a desert. It's like kind of a weird. So up north is quite green and lush. You've got flowers and trees and the mountains, because obviously they're around. There's a lot of life around the mountain. But then down
Uh-huh.
south there's literally nothing. It's just like arid and very and hot. It's hot. So you're gonna walk basically on close to the dirt, and yeah.
Okay. I have stars on my Google Maps on two beaches in the south. One is Playa de la Tejita,
Hmm.
and then kind of further a bit further west is Playa Los Cristianos.
Yeah, I think Los Cristianos is the party place, I think. And those beaches, I think they're like black sand from what I remember. I've been there some time ago. Yeah. And but by the way, again, most of the nomads are down south, and there's a lot of tech meetups and nomad. I mean, we've been on a hike, and we were like 60 people, pretty crazy, right?
60-person hike?
Yeah,
That's a war
yeah,
team.
yeah. It was like a battalion or
A
something. Yeah,
battalion.
yeah,
Wow. So you're saying most of the nomads are actually not in Santa Cruz de Tenerife, they're more down south.
yeah, yeah. Because they prefer to surf, and it's hotter there, and there are more bars. I mean, in Santa Cruz here, you have some bars, but it's more like elderly people just going out. It's not really that fun, to be honest. They're not. It's not that great for
Interesting.
fun. Yeah,
So where is the hub then? Is the hub in Playa de las Americas? That seems
around
to be the
there.
name of the city
Yeah,
there.
around there. Yeah, around there. I would say so. Definitely South Los Americanos and the one you mentioned.
Because it seems to be split. Like I'm looking at it on a map, and half of it's called Playa de las Americas, and then half of it's called Los Cristianos, but it kind of combines into like a mini city town
You
thing.
can walk around there. You can walk, but like there's a lot to explore. So that's why I was saying, get a car.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I think the fun, because the fun is there. There are more bars and also the surfing scene and all that stuff. So honestly, I didn't really know. I mean, I did a lot of research, but I wasn't aware that uh, it's a, that it's not boring in the north, but it's a bit more quiet. Yeah,
Okay. So
and the
those are
airport
kind of
is
the
south, by
two
the way.
hubs.
Yeah,
Those are basically the two hubs of the island.
for sure, for sure.
Santa Cruz in the north, and then
Yeah, there's another
Americas
important
Cristianos in the
city.
south.
Yeah, there's another important city in the west. It's called Puerto de la Cruz. It's kind of a small town, and they've got some beaches there as well, like
Yep.
Los Patos, for example. But
Uh-huh.
that's really small. So a lot of if people want to be a bit more remote, they can go around there. There's some really nice houses for rent. You can find them on Facebook Market, or they've got real estate agencies and stuff like that here. So
Uh-huh.
you can just like if you want to retire for a while and do some monk mode or whatever, just go around there or up north.
Puerto de la Cruz.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
bus. There's a
It
bus that
seems,
goes
yeah,
there.
tell me more about this area, cuz like let's basically determine what kind of avatar of person might choose one of these three main areas. So Santa Cruz, you're saying it's like a bit more elderly, a bit more connected to
Yeah,
like
definitely.
transportation and ferries and this kind of thing. The south is the partiers, the nomads, the surfers, and then what would Puerto de la Cruz be? Because it does seem to be fairly built up.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of, I wouldn't say, I think there are a lot of retreats there from what I've heard. So people go to retreats. They do a lot of yoga retreats here, by the way. So a lot of people organizing. There are a lot of Europeans that moved here. Basically, they just organize this kind of meetups or retreats, from yoga to other things. And in Puerto de la Cruz, I know some people who live there up in the mountains in some small houses. Like it's really beautiful. We've got these beautiful gardens with like lush vegetation and flowers and things
Hmm.
like that. And if you want to do hikes, it's another good place to start from. But again, I think you need a car to go to Teide, honestly, to the national park, to the volcano. Especially if you're in Puerto de la Cruz, you'll need a car, I'm pretty sure, because as you can see, like the road goes around the island, it doesn't go through the mountain. Apparently, they're building a tunnel to unite south and north or something like that. So that's pretty impressive. And by the way, the roads are great here. It's like just like in Spain. I mean, really good quality.
Hmm. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, there's kind of this town connected to Puerto de la Cruz called La Orotava,
Hmm.
which is a bit higher up, and I randomly have a star on a place called Nine Co-Living. which is there.
Yeah. I tried to get the place there. Actually, it's really popular. I couldn't get it. So, like, yeah, as I was saying, everything is booked on this island. So, if you want to book, maybe from summer or from autumn, because winter is full here. Like everyone is running away from the European winter. Yeah, Nine Co-living is great. I found another one called Mariah. I'll send you the links to put them in the description. But definitely some good options here, and people are super nice. I mean, the locals, they know the gig. They know, like, the owner here is great, and I've heard like it's
Hmm.
really good managed in a lot of places. Like very friendly people. Definitely, good vibe overall, I would
Okay.
say.
So we're basically saying that Puerto de la Cruz is kind of more longer term expats,
Yeah,
whereas
I
the
would say
south is
so.
like the partiers,
I
Puerto
would
de la Cruz.
I would
And
say
what would
so.
the
Yeah.
appeal be like of being in Puerto de la Cruz? It seems to be like nice sunsets. Is it like what's the weather like there compared to?
I would say it's pretty similar. I mean, it's a bit more cool in the way that you only have like 22 or 23. I think it rains a bit in the winter, from what I understood. I was talking to some locals here, but other than that, it's just a quiet place. So I don't know if our audience, probably our audience is like up to 40 years old. So I don't know if they're gonna love that. But it's a good place to go there and chill for maybe a few days or something like that. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's not the thing. It's not the thing. Like people just go there for a 1 day trip. I'm going actually tomorrow there just to check it out again.
Hmm.
As you can see, it's quite green. So the north of the island is quite green, and then the south is really arid. So a lot of retired people are actually up north because it's a bit more cool. But still, it's like 23. It's gorgeous. 23 Celsius. I don't know how much is that in Fahrenheit, but it's pretty good. Trust me.
Yeah. 23 is good.
Yeah.
Cool. And have you jumped over to Gran Canaria at all?
No, not yet. Not this time. I've been there a while ago. I don't remember much. It was I can't really tell because it changed a lot. But not. I don't think I'm going to have time. There was so much stuff to do here that I like. All the weekends are full. Like there's always a party. There's always a car rented. There's always a thing.
Tell me more about that. Like, what kind of activities and stuff are people doing?
Yeah, so a lot of things, obviously, from drinking parties. You've got some raves that are being organized apparently once a month. Tech meetups. We're doing an AI tech meetup on Monday. um, Paddling, a lot of paddling, surfing, paragliding, windsurfing, kite surfing. There's honestly you can do a lot of stuff, and it's pretty safe overall from what I see. Honestly, it's very quiet. It's very like chill, and yeah, absolutely. I think crime is really low here. It's extremely low.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely makes sense. And is the water like good to swim? Is it warm enough to swim?
Yeah, you can. I've been in it. It's not really that comfortable, but as soon as you get moving, it's okay. Yeah, it's decent. It's not great. It's not ideal, but it's doable.
Okay, makes sense. Um, and the AI meetup, where would that be taking place?
So that will take place in our co-living. We're organizing it, me and some guys here who are also into tech. And yeah, we're literally announced that across the island. We've got some people coming from the south. By the way, most of the meetups happen in the south. That's why I was saying that's the hot spot. So I think next time I'll definitely be living somewhere south because it's easier to network there.
The
If you want
meetups
to do.
are in the
Yeah,
south.
yeah. So it's quite hard to travel. Again, you need a car. You need to drive about an hour and something up north if you wanna. So that's what I'm saying. It's a bit disconnected. There is a highway, but it does take time and it's quite busy on the highway. Really, because everyone rents a car. So yeah.
Hmm. Good intel. Um, Anything we forgot to touch upon regarding Canary Islands, Tenerife?
No, I
Or
think
otherwise,
I
I'll
think
move on a bit.
I think that's it. I think I gave a good overview so far. Just join the. My advice would just join some of the digital nomad WhatsApp groups and just
Hmm.
there's some Facebook groups as well. So you'll get that info. I'll do some content on that as well on my channels. Keep an eye on
Yeah.
that.
Hey guys, quick break from the episode to tell you about BitRefill. BitRefill allows you to shop online and in person without banks, converting your crypto directly into merchant balance. We're talking gift cards to Nike, Amazon, Apple, Airbnb, Hotels.com, and many more, all paid for with crypto. Bitrefill offers more than 10,000 gift card options in 180 countries all across Latin America, including Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, Argentina, El Salvador, and many more. You can also apply the code MyLatinLife at checkout to get 10% back on your first purchase. Go to bitrefill.com for more information. How does one go about joining or finding a digital nomad WhatsApp group? They find the invite link on a website, or how do
No,
they?
not really. That's a funny one. It's like a secret thing. Like you have to know someone that's in the group already, so they give you the link or they show you the QR code and you just scan it. It's not really that easy to get into these groups. So you can't really join by invite. You have to scan the code or someone has to give you like a link that was generated from by someone in the group or something like that. So it's not really easy to get into. Like I got in when I was on the island from other people I met in the hikes or here in the co-living space. It's kind
Uh-huh.
of a secret stuff. It's pretty cool.
That's why I ask. So it's one of these things that when you arrive in a new city and you go meet digital nomads at the cafe or the activity, you
They
just
will
start
give you
saying like,
somewhere, yeah.
well, you really got to prompt it. You got to say like, hey, are you in any cool groups? Are there any WhatsApp groups that I should be a part of?
Yeah, exactly. And also people are pretty social. I mean, they'll just open up. Like people are pretty open here because everyone wants to connect. So yeah, it's really easy to meet people. It's pretty amazing. And then just ask them about events, and they'll tell you I found this event on XYZ.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think that's a really good tip for people is it's true that a lot of these WhatsApp groups, they're not like publicly
They're like
listed
semi
anywhere.
secrets. Yeah, semi
Yeah.
secrets.
I mean, like they're, I guess I can't speak for every group, but they're like chill. If someone joins, they're not going to be like, "Who's that?" But there's just no public way to get in there, so you really have to know somebody
That's
and
it.
really just be asking. Because if you don't ask, it's not gonna
That's how I
that
got in as
opportunity.
well. Basically, we're just talking about some things with some people we met, and they just told us, "Oh, we've got this from the group." And then I was like, "How can I join?" They sent me the link or the QR code, and I got in. Yeah, and it's the same, I think, in Thailand. So I was last year in Thailand for a few months, and WhatsApp is very powerful there, especially amongst expats. So if you go to Koh Samui, Koh Phangan, Krabi, just look for those WhatsApp groups because they're like tens of people meeting at once in these super cool places. So you want to be there.
Right. That's how you get the intel on anything from raves to yoga
Maybe I
to
mean the raves are obvious. Honestly, they're not the best. Like if you ask me in Thailand, they're not the best raves. They're yeah. I mean compared
right.
to
But it's
Germany or
still
the
like it's
UK.
good to have like a squad,
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you don't want to go to the rave like just you and maybe your girlfriend and it's like a little isolating. But
Awkward. Yeah,
if it's like they're in the WhatsApp group and they're like, "Yo, five of us tonight, we're going to this drum and bass party. Like, who wants to come?" Sick, and then you like get a little pre-drink going, you
that's
know.
it. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Again, like a lot of people go out in Thailand as well. Most of them are expats. Just join those groups, and you'll meet some cool people.
yeah. So speaking of like, where else have you been a digital nomad? What have been some of your favorite spots? I mean, what are some of
The
the
sweet spots,
favorites
huh?
of remote tribe?
Yeah, I would say Thailand, like hands down. Honestly, for me, it's great. I think Vietnam has a great potential. I think they're still trying to kind of find out what to do, but Vietnam is great. It's like Thailand maybe 20 years ago when it was just starting because they've got really good infrastructure in Vietnam. They've got great food, it's quite cheap. Brand new places in a lot of cities. They're building these like amazing hotels and flats, like really fantastic, like really cheap. But for me, Thailand still stays the best. Like, super nice people, super peaceful. It's extremely peaceful. Like literally, everyone is smiling, and people don't look at you like they're very non-aggressive. It's very hard to describe. It's very non-aggressive culture. Still pretty cheap. I don't know how come it's that cheap. I don't understand. And the nature is fantastic. You can move by scooter anywhere. Yeah, it's like it's great. I think you've got it all. The only problem is you can't really stay long. So they only give like retirement visas if you're like over 60, or the digital nomad visa. It's really expensive. You may have to make over 70K a year USD to get it for a year. You can't really do visa runs so much. So you have to stay after the 3 months. I think you have to spend like another month outside or something like that. I'm not sure how it works. I was there only for 3 months.
Hmm.
So you have to look into that. That's the only problem. There is no like residency, permanent residency, like in in South America, or that's one of the downsides. And the other one is the cultural difference. Like people still don't speak English. It's quite hard to communicate. Also cultural, like it's yeah, it's very different from the Western world. Like yeah, all this Buddhist stuff and the things they have there. They're very peaceful, but you can't really have like yeah, if you don't speak Thai, it's hard to have deep conversations.
Yeah.
Other places, yeah, I would say Argentina is pretty cool. As a European, I feel like home there. Like Buenos Aires is really cool. Like if you ignore a few things, then you're good. Europe is still very good as well. Like if you go south, Greece on the continent, I would say mostly the islands have sketchy internet. Um,
Greece.
Greece, yeah, Greece is beautiful. Like it's absolutely gorgeous, but you can't really work from the islands that much. You have to be maybe on Crete, which is one of the biggest, if not the
Uh,
biggest island. Um, yeah, so the internet can be sketchy on some of the islands, and then Croatia is pretty good as well. Gotten really expensive lately, but it's. I mean, the seaside is phenomenal. I would
hmm.
say.
And I think I heard that Romania just joined the Schengen, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everyone who comes to Europe now on a Schengen visa can actually go to Romania as well, which is definitely up and coming, much cheaper than Western Europe. I mean, I would say cheaper, not much cheaper. Yeah, and you can literally go in the mountains. The internet is very good there because the infrastructure is brand new after the
I heard
90s.
Romania has like crazy, like some of the best internet in Europe.
Yeah, yeah, because there was no infrastructure in the 90s, so they had to rebuild everything brand new. And yeah, everything was like top tech when they started building, so there's it's much easier to maintain and just improve, I guess. And yeah, it's really good, especially in the cities. But you want to be in the mountains maybe, or like in Transylvania, it's really beautiful there. So you can find like
Uh-huh.
a community somewhere in the mountains, do some hikes, good internet, and it's great. Yeah, and
And my understanding is like the only place in Europe where there's still bears.
yeah, yeah. So you do have to be careful. Like we have usually you have to carry firecrackers and
Oh,
I mean
really?
yeah, 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 stuff like that. So pretty serious. Don't ignore that. Ask the locals. Don't stay at night on the hikes and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean winter is tough there. So don't do any crazy trekking in the winter because it's. I mean every year there's people in the news dying there. So it's real.
Hmm. So explain this to me. I just want to understand this as a sovereign guy. My understanding is Romania and Bulgaria joined the Schengen starting January 1st, something like that.
Yeah, by air, I believe, by air and sea. So if you come in by plane, let's say you're an American or a Canadian, you've got a Schengen visa, and you're in Germany, you wanna go to Romania, you fly in, and you're good. So you can actually just fly in now without a special visa or anything like that.
Hmm.
Now the thing is, sorry, what was yeah? So I think I answered the question.
I just want the lowdown on how, because you said there's like a couple things about it. So yeah, like if you come by land from Hungary, and then I think I read some other thing that um, Romanians they don't have the freedom of movement yet. Like it takes a couple of years for it to activate or something.
No, no, no. So Romania is part of the EU and was part of the EU. I mean, still is since 2007. So I mean, you can definitely travel anywhere as a Romanian, and Europeans can come to Romania without any problems. It's just that
Hmm.
it wasn't in the Schengen space. The Schengen space is kind of uh, a property of the European Union, and not everyone that's
Hmm.
in Europe is in the Schengen space.
Right.
So now Romania got also in that Schengen space with Bulgaria after some negotiations or something like that. And now basically, I guess good news for Americans and Canadians and non-Europeans is that if you get the Schengen visa, you can now visit these countries as well without a visa. So it's more rich for you guys. For us, it
Mm.
doesn't really make a difference. You just had to show the passport at the border, and that was it. It was just a formality. But now you can just go straight out of the plane. You can go straight into the airport. So no more checks basically, plus customs and stuff like that. So
Ah.
yeah.
Yeah, and well, the flip side of that is if you are American and you only get 90 days per 180 days
Hmm.
in the
It
Schengen,
will count. Yeah.
it counts, so you can't escape to Romania or Bulgaria anymore to to kill time.
Yeah, I
Is
think
that's
what you can do is go to. I think the UK is not in Schengen, so you can go to the UK. As an
uh,
American, I think it's easy, so you can go there for a while. Not in London, just avoid. It's very expensive. Just kidding. It's a great city, but yeah, I mean it's pretty expensive now. So just I don't know, go somewhere else, or you can go to maybe Croatia. Croatia is part of the EU now. I don't know if it's part of Schengen though. You can go. You can go maybe Albania, which is now pretty safe. I've heard and really, really popular. It's getting really popular and quite cheap.
uh-huh.
Serbia is not part of the EU, so maybe you can go to Serbia as well.
Hmm.
And Turkey, Turkey is definitely not part of the EU, so you can spend some time. I think you spend like 3 months in Turkey and then
Yeah.
go back. Yeah,
And
it's
so
pretty close. I mean,
for
yeah.
Romanians, now Romanians can go and work anywhere in the Schengen, right? Like they have free.
No. That was a property of the European Union, so that's valid since 2007. It's just about the border checks. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought I saw something that like Romanians still can't
No.
go
It was
work any. But
no,
okay, you can get a
no.
job in France,
Yeah,
whatever,
no
no
problem.
problem.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Cool, cool, cool. So where are you personally registered, like as a tax resident, if I may ask?
So I'll keep that as a secret for now, but I
Okay.
do have multiple residencies. So just try to set up. I think having just like one residency is not enough these days. Like you have to protect yourself. I think we're on the same line here. So you don't want to yeah, you don't want to be stuck in one place. You want to have multiple bank accounts because everyone is freezing bank accounts now for one reason or the other. Is pretty crazy. Like Revolut is insanely aggressive on that, by the way. It's that prepaid card we have in Europe.
Yeah, I've heard of Revolut. I
Yeah,
think I
so
might
they're
even
they're
have it.
blocking it
Tell
literally.
tell me.
Yeah, so I have a lot of friends. You just get a message from Revolut. You've got a month to move all your money, or in some cases, they even block your all your bank accounts, so you can't really even retrieve the money unless you submit like a lot of paperwork. And even then, it's not enough. So you could even lose the money from your Revolut. So it's getting very sketchy right now.
And why are they
Um,
doing that? Is that crypto or other
yeah, I
reasons?
think it's crypto. I think it's also the EU cracking down on Revolut because a lot of Europeans probably they keep some savings, they keep some money on Revolut. It is a bank right now, Revolut, but
Uh-huh.
I think that there's a lot of pressure on them to be even more regulated, whatever that means, right?
So a lot of people are getting their Revolut
Yeah. I
closed.
mean, I'm pretty sure if you ask European friends, they surely have someone that had that as well. It's Yeah, I would advise just try to stay away. Don't keep big amounts and just transfer to friends. Like if you need to transfer some money, just keep like small amounts. But unfortunately, it's not really a thing. It's a great app, but it's not. Yeah, I don't think it's reliable anymore. I don't know what happened. Honestly, some people probably know better than me.
This episode of the My Latin Life podcast is brought to you in part by Job Stacking. Introducing Rolf Haltza's Paycheck Multiplication Layering Method, a revolutionary approach that redefines the traditional career path. This is Rolf's new Done With You program where he'll work with you to implement job stacking for yourself. With this method, Rolf contractually guarantees that you'll be able to double your income in 45 days. So, are you ready to step out of the shadows of job insecurity and step into a world of career abundance? Then just click the link in the description of this episode, book a call with Rolf, and start walking the path of unleashing your earning potential with job stacking. Got it. And so, what's the alternative?
I would say again, like normal banks are fine as long as you've got options. I mean, the UK banking is great. I think German banking is good as well. Austrian, yeah, and maybe if you can have like an account in South America somewhere as well, like USD, I would say. I don't know. I think from what I feel, like Uruguay has a good. Maybe you can tell me more. They have a good banking system, better than Argentina and Paraguay. Um, I mean, Cyprus is really a good hub for banking and for tech in Europe. So if you can have like a Cyprus bank account, that would be also very helpful.
Mhm.
It's just I think it's common sense, really. Like it's really common sense. It's not a bit. Plus, you can create your credit score if you move money through these accounts, which is
Hmm.
good for residencies, good for other things. Like you'll have credit history with the banks, and that builds up to other things.
Hmm. So, from a European perspective, are you only able to be resident in one European country or one Schengen country, or can you potentially have multiple there?
I think you can have multiple, but you have to be careful on the how should I put this on the amount that you're taxed in every country, and you definitely need a plan for that. So if you're resident in, like, let's say Cyprus in Germany, you want to make sure that you benefit of from the zero tax they offer in Germany for up to, I don't know, like 15,000 euros, and then that's the maximum you can make in Germany or transfer through Germany, and then another country might offer you like 30,000 tax free or 50,000, or like no tax on dividends, for example. So you don't need to keep the money in Germany; you're going to keep them in Cyprus. So I think you can do it. You just have to make sure that you're fine with both, and then maybe you have an accountant, or maybe you do your own stuff, but do it in time and declare. Just be transparent, because as long as you're playing by the rules, you should be okay. For example, in the UK, the minimum allowance tax, which is basically the non-taxed amount you can make per year, is about $13,000, $14,000,
Uh huh.
something like that. So you won't be taxed for the first $14,000, right? And then also,
Hmm.
if you couple that with, you don't have to be in the country for more than, I mean, I think if you're less than 6 months in the country, then you're not registered as a tax resident, something like that. So you can do all these kind of like combinations of different
Yeah, yeah.
circumstances and basically legal things that kind of play up for you right in the end.
So, do you find that a lot of the people in Tenerife or in Spain are they full time residents, or do they try to, even the people who have a house, maybe spend like less than 6 months a
No,
year?
I don't think I think people try to avoid Spain, because I feel like the tax regulation here is crazy. So you don't want to be registered in Spain. A lot of people don't want that. So I think you've got a lot of people, Europeans, just spending here like a month, 2 or 3, like a normal tourist, and they just move on. There are people who buy houses as well. I don't know. I haven't met people who own houses here, but I think you have to register to a tax office. Obviously, if you register here the house and you register yourself here, but then it gets really complicated, because you're going to be a tax resident of Spain, and a lot of people avoid that because there's a lot of bureaucracy and tax. It's a very socialist country.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have a house here, but you don't have to be registered. You don't have to live in Spain. That's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely makes sense.
always look into where you want to buy and where you want to live, and it depends. Like, you can be registered in, like, on the other side of the world, but if you have a good passport, you can just stay for a bit in a lot of countries. It's no problem.
So let me switch things up because I don't want I know you're not like a tax lawyer or anything, so we don't have to go too crazy on that. But I'll hit you with some more Europe stuff. If you had to make a list of the top 10 digital nomad hubs in Europe, give me that list.
Yeah, I would say, I think like Portugal is pretty good, because it's small enough to meet people, and there are just a few important towns, basically, like cities. You've got Lisbon and Porto, and the surfing area down south, and it's really a small country, and a lot of people have moved there for crypto tax benefits, for the residency. A lot of nomads, international people, so it's pretty good. I would say Tenerife is definitely maybe in the top four. I would say, because again, the weather and close to Europe, more or less, is just 4 hours by plane from anywhere, more or less. And big community, very safe, very good internet. It really has it all.
Hit me with the top 10. Hit me with just
Top
like
10, yeah.
boom, Lisbon, boom, number two.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, Lisbon. I would say Madeira, the island, is also pretty good. They've got good internet, and there's a big community. There are like thousands of people on and off working.
Hmm.
Tenerife. What else? I would say Barcelona is pretty good as well. You always have people going there and working and having fun. So Barcelona is pretty good. It's pretty expensive though, to be honest. What else? Let me think. I would say Greece around Athens. In Athens is, yeah, maybe Greece is not literally it's definitely in the top 10. I don't know where to place in the top 10, but I think it's good, because you've got Athens, and on the continent there's a lot of beautiful places, and there's a lot of people there also
Hmm.
working, because you've got the nice scenery. It's quite cheap in the countryside.
Hmm.
Croatia, pretty good internet as well, and getting very popular. Um, I would say Romania also is pretty good because it's still cheap and kind of undiscovered, and you can rent a flat for maybe $400, so that's pretty
Hmm.
good. And people speak English, and yeah, I mean it's up and coming for sure. Like, you can definitely work from there. It's 3 hours from any place in Europe, I would say. I think Brussels is pretty good also. That's why I go there sometimes.
Brussels.
Brussels, yeah, it's
Brussels in the top 10?
yeah, I would say so. Yeah, yeah. It's
Wow.
yeah. The weather is crap, but it's very good for networking. Like, you always meet Europeans there. It's You can go by train anywhere in Europe, and yeah, there's more startups here and there, and you've got people coming and going as well.
Hmm.
And you're in the heart of Europe, so you can go to London by train. I think it's very well connected. Um, Let me see, anything else from the north is quite expensive and remote, I would say. So I don't think people flock there, to be honest.
This episode of the My Latin Life podcast is brought to you in part by Bit Refill. Bit Refill is the best way to spend your crypto in Latin America. Purchase gift cards or mobile refills from more than 3,500 brands in 186 countries instantly, safely, and privately. Visit bitrefill.com for more information. To where?
In Copenhagen, or I used to live in Denmark for a while, like Netherlands, quite expensive, and yeah, it's quite. I don't think people want to live there because it's very rainy and it's quite dark. So I
Dude,
don't.
I think Malta has to be in the top 10.
Malta is good. Yeah, Malta is good. I forgot about that, but you're right. It's definitely a good place. I was there a while ago, and yeah, I think it's gotten better. Like, they build a lot of flats and stuff like that. I was in a new rental, and it was amazing. Also, the internet is pretty good there. Um, yes, I would say Morocco is not in Europe, but it's pretty close. As I was saying, I'm a big fan. It's like very friendly people, good internet now, high speed trains.
Sounds like you've been a couple times.
Yeah, yeah, I've been twice. I'm going the third time now.
You
I
almost
can't
kind of look like Moroccan a little bit,
maybe,
you
yeah,
know?
maybe that's why. Maybe the gene is calling. Who knows? Yeah,
For anyone listening to audio, like Andrew has like a pretty big beard and stuff, so.
yeah. It's very funny. Whenever if I have a beard there, like they will talk to me in Arabic for sure, for sure. So maybe that's why. Maybe I blend in. Yeah. Um, yeah. So I would say like south of Europe is quite popular. I think people notice already. Like in Spain, I don't know. It's Spain, like Madrid, is not really a thing. I would say I don't know people working from there. I haven't seen any news about Madrid. It's a okay place, but it's not really a community.
Hmm.
Um, well, yeah, Croatia, Italy again, like not a big thing so far.
Sicily is pretty popular.
Yeah, it is. So what they're doing right now is a lot of guys approached me. For example, they're organizing this kind of co-living pop-ups, and they're trying to convert all these villas, but it's not really built yet. Like the whole community, like you don't have the vibe you have here in Tenerife or in Madeira. Maybe it's too wide or too big, that area there,
Yeah.
and you need the car everywhere. Maybe that's the thing, but nothing on Italy, to be honest. I haven't heard anything or seen anything that would convince me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about community. What makes a community? Because I feel like this is a lot of what you do at Remote Tribe and a lot of where your website and content is focused is kind of like building the community, emphasizing the community. What does it mean? Is it just some WhatsApp groups with yoga classes, or what is a community really?
Yeah, talking about yoga classes is so hilarious. I think it's the yoga classes. Yeah, they're, and also now the the paddle tennis is it's a thing now with nomads. I don't know, like, yeah, anyway, so the community, I think, so we have a circles community. There is like a private group, which is, it's better than a Facebook. I think it's a bit more it's more a bit more easy to manage, a bit smarter. It's not full of spam and stuff like that, so it's only based on private invite, and we basically try to help each other and give advice. I post a lot of stuff there from my own experience, and on places, locations, advice, my videos,
Hmm.
stuff like that. So I think it's pretty hard to build a community from scratch. Obviously, a community can be online or offline. Right now, I'm in the online phase. I'm really considering maybe doing some workations in the future or something offline as well to bring my network together and just have fun and enjoy life and network. Help each other. I
Hmm.
think it's very powerful from that perspective. A community is very good. Any kind of community. So you can build a community of people who love PowerPoint to a community of people who love dogs. Um, it's all about keeping people engaged and people helping each other and finding a place where they can feel safe and find information and find like-minded people.
Is it
Um,
really just, I was talking to Gonzalo Hall,
mhm.
who is like
Yeah,
one of the Portugal guys,
yeah, yeah,
and he was saying it's really like you really need daily events.
yeah. I
So
think.
otherwise, there's just not enough events.
Mhm. Well, I don't know. It could be an overkill as well. Could be an overkill. Like I don't know if we're talking about physical events. I think that's extremely hard to organize. Honestly, if you need the entire teams, and also, yeah, maybe if you spread it around different topics, maybe. But still, I think it's a lot. But why would you need? You'd rather do it less often and more quality, in my opinion. Not an expert, but I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't be so sure you need to have daily events. It's more about people engaging in a way or another. For offline, I mean, I don't know what type of events he organizes, but yeah, if the different topics, then maybe he can
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
it.
I mean, it's like, yeah, you don't go to everything. You only go to the ones that, you know, you're enthusiastic
Sure,
about.
sure.
But just the fact that they exist, it's like, okay, today is pottery class, tomorrow's paddle, Wednesday is wine and art, Thursday is AI meetup. And just so that there's something every day,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for when.
I mean, honestly, for example, I'll give you my example. I'm quite a busy guy because I'm working on different projects and I don't have time to do that every day. So that's why I'm saying, I mean, I'm more excited to go to a few events per week or maybe two than go to one every single day, even if I would have choices. So I don't know. I think it's a bit, you don't really need so many to keep, like, as long as the house is fine and you have a few strong events where
Mhm.
people connect, I think that's enough, in my opinion. But again, I'm not an expert. Probably Gonzalo knows. He
Yeah,
tried more
yeah.
things than I
For me,
do.
it's just like a lot of dinners is good. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
at
I'm
least like,
against drinking, to be honest. I mean, in the way that I quit alcohol a while ago, and I think in the West there's too much alcohol involved in all the all the social events, and it shouldn't be like that. I mean, I know they say the alcohol is a social lubricant, but it's just too much, and I don't think we should start like that. I think it should start maybe because if everyone is fresh and sober, like I think that's the real deal. That's when you have to work on yourself and work with other people, and So I've been in places where they organize a lot of going out for drinking and dinners with alcohol in the house. I don't think that's the right approach. Maybe have like a few drinks, limited amount of drinks, maybe.
yeah,
But I
okay.
think yeah.
Fair enough. So what is your main project? Is Remote Tribe your main thing, or you do other stuff?
Yeah, so I'm working on another startup right now. I can't really talk much about it because it's in the project phase. So I'm doing some market research. I'm working on Remote Tribe almost full time, and I
Oh wow.
also do SEO consulting and web design for some small clients. So I'm working on a few
Hmm.
different things at the same
What
time.
what allows you to do Remote Tribe near full time? Like, you guys make money from your circle group, or how do you guys make it sustainable?
Yeah, so we've got some money flowing in from affiliates, from circles. We've got some partnerships with other editors that post links on our website as well for money. So for backlinks, and some different sponsorship for the email, for example. It's not much yet, but we're scaling. So uh, it's the traction is pretty good. Like we just passed 10,000 followers on LinkedIn, which is pretty big.
Nice.
And the feedback is really really good. I'm actually going to Portugal in March, end of March, to review a co-living space, and I've been offered some time there, and I'm gonna do some content about it, and also stay more and enjoy the area and do more content on south of Portugal. So things are kicking off. I mean, it's a lot of hard work, and that's one of the things I tell people that you're going to see the results after a few years. So yeah.
Mm. Interesting. I'll have to get with you offline about some
Sure,
of that
man.
monetization stuff. But regarding how the listeners can get value out of it, maybe kind of take this time and explain why people might want to sign up for your email list or the circle groups or whatever else you have going on.
Sure. So the website, we actively blog on the website. We do a lot of research on places and visas and even taxis sometimes. We're not tax advisors, but we can offer some ideas about how things work in different places, right? Also, yeah, co-living spaces, co-working spaces. So we try to review some in person, some we just do the research online, and sometimes we even talk to the companies. We then review products, sometimes travel products as well. So that's the website. Just keep an eye on that. It's like weekly content. It's up to date. Then on the Circles group, we invite people in. Some areas are paid, some are not paid, and basically we try to post interesting stuff there as well, that you can't really find anywhere else, and then we try to engage people in conversations. It's not People are not really that active, unfortunately, because it's just another social network, but we do have some discussions on the private messages and things like that. So things are working. It's not we're not Facebook. We don't want to be Facebook. So it's growing slowly, I would say, but just get in. It's free in most of the places and most of the circles, so you don't have to pay anything. It's just a freebies, freebies.
Hmm.
And then also join our newsletter. We send the newsletter. It's been happening rarely because we've been really busy with some of the content and redesign. There's a big redesign coming next week actually on the website, so just keep an eye on that. But we do send newsletters as well, and we try to compile a lot of stuff that's in the news and a lot of tips and tricks that we see and hear, because we're everywhere in the space. We know everything that moves more or less. So that's free as well. So we have some sponsors on the newsletter sometimes, and that's how we keep it alive.
Awesome. Awesome. So if I were to jump on the website or whatever, like, what do you recommend for me? What should I check out first?
I would say, give me a second. I don't know it by heart. So I would say just maybe go to the blog section. So /blog, and those are the latest articles we have.
Mm.
And we're going to keep posting here as well. Like the homepage is going to get the redesign as well, and working with a network of solicitors as well that can help with the visa, but that's coming in a bit on the redesign side. So we do have the network in place, and me and my partner, who is an international lawyer, we're going to be helping people getting tax advice, like legal tax advice, and through that network he'll be able to source you with, like, I don't know, like maybe like a residence in the UAE, and he's extremely experienced. Like he's done that for tens of years, and we want to get people into that funnel as well and try to see if we can help and if we're competitive against other people in the industry. So a lot of good things are happening. We're trying to, because there's a lot of demand on, where can I live, low taxes in Europe, how can I get into Europe and live more. There are a lot of
Yeah,
questions like that. Also, we've got a lot of questions about Paraguay, for example, very popular these days. So yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, we're happy to help with all things Paraguay, by the way.
Yeah, let's chat. Sure, doors open.
um, yeah, let's definitely chat about that offline. Cool, man. Well, I love everything you're doing. I love how you're kind of combining more of the logistics of the co-livings, co-workings, city guides, and basically all the tools of the trade as a digital nomad or remote worker, making sure that people have everything they need to be successful. So amazing contributions that you guys are making, and really excited for that. So we'll be linking your all your your contact, your website, Twitter, and LinkedIn in the show notes so that people
Hmm.
can reach out to you if they want to get in touch.
Appreciate
Any
that.
final words for the audience?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, give it a try, give remote working a try. I mean, even some of my friends with family, they do workations now, and plan a bit, be bold. Like, honestly, a lot of places in the world are very safe. I think, I've been traveling alone in Southeast Asia for a few years on and off. met some friends. Maybe not alone all the time, but it was pretty safe if you're careful, and if you plan your trips. Internet is good in a lot of places. You'd be surprised. Services are great, especially in Southeast Asia. Europe is pretty safe as well. So for your American audience, give it a try. We've got a lady here from Canada doing her first vacation from Tenerife.
Nice.
She's a bit blown away by Spain and how friendly people are, and also the food and everything. So even for that reason, people should give it a try. I think it's we live great time. Honestly, I hope it's going to be peace for the next 20 years, so we can benefit all this.
Yeah, Canada to Tenerife, what a no-brainer. I mean, what a immediate upgrade on like every metric.
Exactly. That's what she said. Something like that. Something in the words of that she mentioned as well. Yeah.
I believe it. Cool, Andrew. Well, I'm glad we finally got the chance to chat and kind of get a little bit more acquainted. So, thank you very much for your time, Andrew from Remote Tribe. Thank you
Welcome.
to the audience for listening. Please remember to subscribe wherever you're listening to this: YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you are. Subscribing, leaving a review certainly helps a lot. This has been another episode of the My Latin Life podcast. Cheers.
Bye.